mkoa, karibu sana, ujisikie uko pamoja na watu wako kutoka Kakamega. Watu kutoka Kakamega, tingiza. Asante sana. Watu wako kutoka Nyanza.
Niko katika kinyang'anyiro cha urais, na sisi tunasema ya kwamba nikishinda ni sawa, akishinda pia tutakubali, sio? Kwa hivyo mmekubali ya kwamba tuta marafiki. Akijisikia labda pia mimi akuje tufanye kazi pamoja, kwani tutafanya kazi. Na sisi tumeamua namna hii. Sisi kura yetu tutachunga, na pia Wajackoyah wewe ujipange uchunge yako. Ama ni aje? Ni kujipanga maifa.
Rolls, nylon for example, paper production for example, is of higher quality because the product is only grows for 4 months and it yields. And for issues of trees being used, a tree takes 20 years to grow. It takes away the nutrients of the soil. It takes away what actually is there, like what we've seen in Western Kenya, the sugarcane plantations with a lot of fertilizers which have spoiled the soil. But ganja adds value to the soil. And ganja in itself is actually manure. It over-manures where it has been planted or where it has grown. So we shall sell it as a raw material, because in my government, I do not see the possibility, and I mean of now, first 5 years or 10 years of my presidency, of people looking at it and having a debate and discussing whether they want it or not. And that's what I will do in the first 100 days, asking Kenyans, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, how do you think about it? Let us have consensus of popular participation in the Constitution. And I'm sure when they come up and say, it's what we want, who am I? I'm just leading the way. Because a lot of politicians do not even want to talk about it. Because they have been so much indoctrinated with the European and American philosophy that what's wrong is wrong. But I can assure you that people who smoke weed for medicinal purposes live longer, because it cures cancer, it cures COVID. If you look at Pfizer, for example, Pfizer in the year 2016, bought the cannabis farm for $670 million US. Why did it have to buy that company, which was actually engaged in purification and manufacturing of drugs out of ganja? Why should the West come through multinational corporations like Pfizer again to create atmospheres, to create legislation in those countries where they come from, to look at the world, to create conditions so that African economies cannot grow, so that we in Africa have to have this dependency ratio which was impacted by the colonial masters. And we are an independent sovereign nation. We can decide what to do. My government will no longer be looking at the West. Should I be elected as president? I am not going to look for aid. I am not going to look at them to come and tell me what to do. I'll do a Mandela. I'll do a Fidel Castro. I'm not going to be given aid on condition that you do this. I'll also ask the Chinese to leave. I'll review their contracts, because their contracts are harmful to the country. They are not actually making us to yield anything economic. Every day you heard the president say that the country spends 2 billion, borrows 2 billion. In 1 week, how many billions are that? How are we going to pay that? The only solution is asking Kenyans, look, we have been indoctrinated so much by the West, ganja is bad. They are looking at it in terms of smoking. But let me ask you one question. Look at Philip Morris. It's a multinational company that manufactures cigarettes. On a cigarette packet, they are telling you, they are showing you signs of death. You take me much, you'll die, you get cancer. Look at whiskeys from Tennessee. They say this is the best whiskey. You go to a hotel and somebody comes in with a bottle of wine or whiskey and telling you, oh, this is 10 years old. It's very nice. Drink it all and see the consequences. Whereas, they don't want us to manufacture this because they know that green gold can be used when we are ready. Oklahoma has just legalized it. California legalized. Texas legalized. In Holland, they are selling it. And if you look at the countries that have legalized, the smoking rate is very low. If you look at the countries that have legalized even simple things like prostitution is very low. But in Kenya, 90%, I'm sure, smoke bangi, smoke weed. Why would you be hiding? Come out in the open and put legislation and let the market be there for people. Yeah.
On the cancellation of contracts with the Chinese, don't you think it will be very expensive to pay for those contracts?
We shall take it upon ourselves to grow ganja and pay them. Because some of those contracts, Kenyans do not know. You members of the Fourth Estate, do you have any contracts with you? Have you done any investigation to find out how those contracts were signed in the first place? Or you see millionaires running around with choppers going for elections, the ones who have stolen from those contracts. Come on, let's have common sense. I would like to include the media in everything that I will do, so that people become informed. Information is informative, that people can know, hey, Professor is talking about this. But let people talk about it first. Introduce the thing and let people talk about it. Look at wheelbarrows. Somebody is telling you of wheelbarrow. It's taking us back to 1940. Somebody is taking us of sijui pesa mashinani. Pesa mashinani, how? Let us grow the wheat. Legalize and grow it so that everybody is happy financially. And probably...
On a lighter note, have you ever smoked bangi yourself?
I've never smoked, but I'm going to smoke once we legalize. Are the same people who are promoting sodomy. They are the same people who are saying that in Kenya, in Uganda, President Museveni has banned homosexuality and he has put death penalty. And unless that is verified, then there will be no aid to Uganda. Which mechanisms did they use to go to Vihiga or Bunyore to look at the age groups there, to look at quantitative analysis, to look at qualitative and quantitative for both, to come out with those figures? That's what you call myopization of the mind, decolonization and colonization of the mind. Let's give them this report so that we see. Have they also told you that people in New York, the level of people in New York, those who are drunk, the number of drunkards in New York is higher than those who drink in California? These reports are the ones that are being given to you to feed to the people. Have they told you about AIDS? How many of them are sick of AIDS and how many people have died and the causes of AIDS? They want to tell Africans what is in their interest so that we can come and say that thing is bad. How sure are you that multinational corporations have not lobbied for that report to come out? I live in those countries. I practice law in the US. I practice law in the US. I'm a scholar. I look at their mind of indoctrination through the pen. Let us do this to tell Africans. And then stupid Africans who have never known how these things are done come up and say, Muzungu amesema iko namna hii. We can't answer those kind of questions, madam.
Professor, a practical question from this end on the same issue of marijuana. Most people are likely to actually fight you on the issue of marijuana corporations, the cigarette companies, the alcoholic companies. And you talking about legalizing is just basically bringing marijuana in the tax bracket of Kenya. And marijuana is smoked illegally in Kenya.
It says for medicinal purposes. But what happens is that the trade is being controlled by a cartel, whereby government itself is not receiving any taxes, neither do the people benefit from the trade. So by what Professor Wajackoyah is proposing is to mainstream the production, distribution, and control of marijuana so that for once we can also have an economic benefit to the people through taxes, create jobs, which we need jobs for the youth, and also turn the land that is not being used into proper agricultural use. So this is it's going to spur the economy by creating jobs, by increasing taxes so that we don't need to borrow money from banks or from the Chinese. And I think this is one of the brilliant innovations and things that should be followed through so that we can spur our economy.
Percentage of GDP contribution?
I don't think that statistics have come out yet, but going by a country like South Africa, when South Africa legalized the growth of marijuana, immediately the economy jumped up by a significant percentage. So you can just do some analysis and research on that and you will see the economic importance of it. Yes.
Do you think Kenya will be a pariah with these ideas of kicking out Chinese and kicking out donor countries?
Let me answer that one. Again,
Do you think Kenya can become a pariah with your radical
languages? Nothing wrong. But why should it be coming from there? Why should we have our ministers go to China and come up and say, hii itakuwa namna hii, namna hii? It's not radical. There's nothing radical here. It's a reality. And when you speak reality, you become radicalized. Or you radicalize your audience. I am not trying to go that direction. I'm just saying, Chinese economy, the contraband, West. Corona was brought here by aeroplane from China. You saw when that plane landed? You saw the ramifications that followed when a young man blew the whistle? And did you see Wakili Dansan Omari coming up and rushing to court to save the job of that young man because he had said that Corona has just been imported? Come on, let's face reality. How many roads do you have people who are standing, as an engineer here just said, that they bring their companies and they have their supervisors who do not speak your language? They don't speak. They have an interpreter to go and show you the way forward. Look at their roads. Go to Thika Road. Just go to Thika Road, then look at the road going to Kiambu, and look at the other one coming from Taiga. Do you have stop signs there? Don't you have Kenyan engineers who can be commingled with them to tell them, look, this is how we want it to be? Because if it comes this way, the rate of accidents will go high. I've lived in Europe where common sense on the roads and infrastructure is there because people are included and scientists have come up to prove what is wanted for those people. So it's not an issue of radicalizing. And of course, opposition and members of opposition will run to China to get money to say, ban this man. I'm ready to die for this country. But what I'm trying to say today is that we shall look at the Chinese contracts, how they were signed, and how they made Kenya to incur debts and losses every day. If that is wrong, then I don't know. But this issue of one coming to address and saying that, oh, I'll kick the Chinese out, I'll look at their contract and I want to know who signed them and what was the purpose, the durability. And how much are we paying? It's your children and my children that are going to suffer.
Okay, I have two questions.
Yes.
One.
They will also tell you that we have Medicare for those who are unemployed. And they will also tell you that we also have schemes for those who are unemployed to go back and do job training, to get job opportunities, to look for jobs elsewhere. That is that system. It works very well.
Okay.
But when it comes to Kenya, for example, in what you have said, when it comes to 4 days, it is the Europeans that have come up with it and they're implementing it. But for me, I'm looking at it not to copy it from there, but I'm looking at it from the following version, from the African methodology. A Christian goes to church on Saturday, the entire Saturday, a Seventh-day Adventist, worshiping the Lord and thanking the Lord. Pentecostals, Roman Catholics, Anglicans, they go to church on Sunday, the whole day to thank the Lord. The Muslims go to the mosque on Friday. When will you have time to sit with your children? On issues of economic development, with the job scales and the employment times, to harmonize relationship between employer-employee and to give somebody a job, to give somebody some kind of breathing space for purposes of morality. 4 days are okay. Work for 4 days and rest so that your production can go high. Instead of waking up every day, going to work, and then you don't have time for yourself, the remaining time you go to the church, it's another issue. But let me also rope in my colleagues, because Roots Party, we speak collectively. Maybe if you can have his comments here.